Okay guys, I'm in genuine shock right now, but per reports and according to Shams Charania, the Lakers are trading Anthony Davis and for none other than LUKA Doncic. Yes, take a moment to process that, but apparently that trade does happen to be real. I mean, I thought Shams got hacked and the entirety of Twitter got hacked for a moment, but apparently it does happen to be true. And for the full trade here, the Mavericks are trading LUKA Doncic himself, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and their 2029 first-round draft pick to the Dallas Mavericks. It's apparently a 3-team trade that will include the Utah Jazz for some incoming salary more likely than not, but it's hard to believe, but apparently this trade does happen to be true. LUKA Doncic will now be a Laker, and Anthony Davis will now be a Dallas Maverick. Hard to believe I know, and it's really absolutely shocking me down to the core. I thought Anthony Davis would retire a Laker, or at the bare minimum play with the Lakers until LeBron retires, and that at the bare minimum I thought would happen, but apparently that does not happen to be true. They're trading Anthony Davis and they will now get LUKA Doncic in return for him. And we're talking about a 25-year-old LUKA Doncic here, and well, I guess if you're gonna trade Anthony Davis, then this is the guy that you trade him for. LUKA Doncic only being 25 years old and could ideally be the future of their team and the face of their team for the next decade to 15 years in the future. Again, absolutely craziness here. I can't believe it, I really can't process it, but the trade did happen, and LUKA Doncic will be a Laker, and I guess he'll be leading their team into the future at that too. I mean, I don't even know how LeBron feels about it, Anthony Davis being his quote-unquote best friend, and I can't believe that he would want to trade him, and the Lakers probably didn't tell him about this, probably didn't tell Anthony Davis about this, obviously didn't tell Anthony Davis about this, and nobody knew until it happened. I'm not gonna say it doesn't make sense to me, but it really doesn't compute in my brain how you can make a trade like this happen. It feels like something you'd hop on NBA 2K and turn off the trade sliders and then make that kind of trade for fun, not something that actually happens in real life and at this point in the NBA season too. I mean, maybe if one of them or both of them were unhappy in their current situation, then yeah, I could see it happening. I mean, Kevin Durant got traded last season prior to the trade deadline and that was pretty wild in itself, and that was only with him being the superstar in that trade, but now we're talking about 2 superstars in one trade alone. Arguably 2 top 10 players in the entire league, LUKA Doncic being at the top of that list again, the epitome of that, Anthony Davis being absolutely elite on both ends of the court and one of the best defenders in the entire league, and it's just a really weird, random, and absolutely mind-boggling trade that nobody saw coming, and something you really can't ever predict happening in the NBA. Which I guess is kind of what the NBA is becoming at this point too. And literally as I'm recording this, we're learning more about the trade, and Shams Charania gave more details about the trade, saying that the Mavericks approached the Lakers about making this trade, offering LUKA Doncic for Anthony Davis, and saying that the 2 teams met together, and that the Lakers believe that the 25-year-old LUKA Doncic has the ability to become the face of their team and the face of their franchise for the next decade, while giving the Mavericks Anthony Davis in a win-now move for their team. And it's all around confusing even with that added detail. I mean, I don't know what LUKA Doncic did to their team or to their front office or said to their front office, but it had to be something more than simply that for them to want to trade him. He can be the face of any team, let alone their team, and why they would want to trade him, I have absolutely no idea. I feel like more details come out about this, and probably from LUKA Doncic himself about why they broke up, why they wanted to trade him, why he maybe wanted to be traded. And it still makes no sense to me, but apparently that does happen to be the case here. And trying to understand it from the Mavericks standpoint, like what do they really gain here from this? If they're trying to make a quote-unquote win-now move, like Shams Charania mentioned in that tweet, what did they really gain by trading LUKA Doncic for Anthony Davis? I mean, I guess more defense, but if we're talking about winnability and a single player alone's ability to help them win more games, does Anthony Davis really help you win more than LUKA Doncic? I don't think so, and that's probably not the reason you make that trade. Which again, is why I think there's more to it than simply that alone. LUKA Doncic had to do something, they had to do something to him, or have an absolutely massive disagreement that we have yet to hear about that forced them to want to make this kind of trade. Again, no idea what that might be, but there is simply more to this than that alone. It can't simply be them wanting to move on from him and him having nothing to say about it or nothing to do with it, and them trading it for Anthony Davis. That makes no sense to me. I can't imagine it makes any sense to you. In regard to either a fit standpoint, a money standpoint, or whatever you can come up with, it makes absolutely 0 sense to me. And then for the Lakers standpoint and their front office standpoint, what really led to them making that trade and what led to them making that final decision to trade Anthony Davis for LUKA Doncic? Well, according to a new report, not only was the front office aligned in making that, but everyone between the coach, that being JJ Redick, their general manager, that being Rob Pelinka, and the entirety of their ownership, Jeannie Buss, and all the way down the line, were in full alignment on making that trade. According to Dan Wilkie of the LA Times, that apparently does happen to be the case, so now there's only one question left. How does LeBron feel about it? I mean, we hear about the coach, general manager, and ownership, but nothing about LeBron here. LeBron and Anthony Davis are best friends, and if not very good friends at the bare minimum. They won a championship together back in the NBA bubble back in 2020, and I can't imagine that LeBron would be in full support of trading Anthony Davis. And I absolutely cannot imagine LeBron wanting to trade Anthony Davis or having anything to do with that. Again, they're great friends, they have great chemistry, are a great fit together, are a proven fit together, have now played with each other for about half a decade, and that appeared to be going nowhere. And with their team trending upward lately too, coming off a great win over the New York Knicks, this really makes no sense to me, and I can't imagine that LeBron's happy about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's not mad about playing with LUKA DONCIC. He would love to do that, I'm sure he's wanted to do that for quite some time now, but not if it meant trading Anthony Davis. That's probably not what he was thinking here, not what he wanted to have happen, not what he was a part of making happen, and even some questions might be asked about his future with their team too. Will LeBron want to continue with their team after kind of trading his best friend and a guy they wanted to finish his career with, that being Anthony Davis of course? That's definitely up in the air now, and who knows, if they're willing to trade Anthony Davis, then they might be willing to trade LeBron James too. I mean, given that LeBron had nothing to do with it and had no idea that trade was about to happen, which does apparently happen to be the case here and it sure seems that way, then I can't imagine he feels too safe about his future with their team and what their front office is currently planning and plotting behind the scenes without him. Again, obviously he doesn't mind playing with LUKA DONCIC. That's probably if anything a good thing, and if you're gonna trade Anthony Davis, it better be for a guy like LUKA DONCIC. But not telling LeBron about it, not conversing with him, and not only him but not Anthony Davis himself, who ended up getting traded, is kind of a bad look for their team and what they're currently planning and plotting behind the scenes. I don't love that part about it. I can't imagine the players in their team like that part about it. It's gotta be a really weird feeling for them, not only about trading Anthony Davis, who had been their teammate and multiple of their teammates for multiple years now, but simply the fact that nobody is safe in their team entering the trade deadline, and that they're willing to make an absolutely game-changing and team-altering move like that, and nobody saw it coming or had any idea about it. Apart from all that though, and I know it's a lot to take in, don't get me wrong, I'm shocked too, one more detail from Tim McMahon of ESPN said that the Mavericks had quote-unquote major concerns about moving forward with LUKA DONCIC due to his constant conditioning issues and the looming commitment about another max contract with their team. So that kind of hints at him not wanting to be with their team. If they had issues about signing another contract with him and thinking that he may or may not do that with their team, then the writing may have been on the wall here for him to leave their team too. I mean, they're coming off an NBA Finals run, so you would think they'd be in a good spot, but apparently not. Whether it's between the contract or more about the conditioning issues, which might be something to monitor here as Laker fans and for the Laker franchise, there's a lot to take in here and there's definitely more than we know at this point. Overall though, I'm still way too shocked to make any kind of breakdown about this. I keep repeating it over and over in my head and it still doesn't sound true. I mean, how do you trade LUKA DONCIC at this point in the year? And then with that, trade Anthony Davis for him and both them involved in the same trade on a random Saturday night following a Lakers win and about 5 days away from the trade deadline. It doesn't make sense to me. I feel like the entire internet got hacked again. Everyone's believing a fake Shams tweet, but it's actually true and we have to simply process that no matter how hard it will be to do. LUKA DONCIC will be a Laker, Anthony Davis will be a Dallas Maverick, Max Christie will be a Dallas Maverick with him, who I'm really going to miss here as well, and it's simply a wild trade that nobody saw coming, and we might never see another trade like this again. With that being said though, what do you guys think? If you can process it, how do you feel about the trade? Who do you think maybe won the trade? Why do you think the trade happened? And what details do you think might come out about the trade after this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll do it for this video, and if you enjoyed it, I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, have a great night and try to process this trade.